David.
Huh?
How do you feel about platitudes at all? I know more and more I increasingly get turned off with them.
What you saying?
I said, how do you feel about platitudes? Period. Like now, you know, people always calling platitudes, especially about God or just stuff that sound good, but it ain't. But after from your own experience, you find out it's BS.
It's empty. I despise platitudes. Whenever I hear somebody use them, it's like in my presence, I finish the sentence in a sarcastic way. Yeah, la 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 la. And they say, "What? Why you say it like that?" I said, "Why are you quoting? What? Can you use your mind?" You know, that's like my mother. She always ends everything. God is good. How do you know? How do you know that? Here's a God that tells you, "I created good and evil." Really? So God is all good? It says in your book. He says, I create good and evil. Really? So why did you create evil? Is evil a good thing or a bad thing? It's a bad thing. Well, if you are all good and evil is a bad thing, and it come out of you, if it's in your image and likeness, then you can't be all good. You must be evil too. So if man is created in your image and after your likeness, and if man has duality between good and evil, then you must be good and evil. If I'm a reflection of your creation, and if I got issues, then you must have issues. You know, but people want to just keep saying God is good. What's good then? Tell me what good is without you trying to give me a definition or a point of view. Tell me what good is. Tell me what perfection is. Because you don't know what good is, and you damn sure don't know what perfection is in order to compare it to the Creator and judge the Creator as good and perfect. You don't know those things. So why don't you just stay away from those things? You know, and that's one of the main thoughts that I have with the pastors. Why don't you preach on on scriptures like that? Deal with that. But I know that's going to affect your pocket. Pastor say God created evil. It's right there in your book. There it is. So this devil that you say that is getting on your nerves, guess who created that devil? Guess who brought that devil into existence? Guess who brought Satan into existence? He said, I created good and evil. Isn't Satan evil? Hello? Who created Satan then? And for what purpose? There's a lot of things that are not explained, and that's my gripe with the Creator. Why did you create this? How come you didn't destroy it? How come you don't clean up your own mess? How come we gotta suffer? Well, if you ask me one more question, I'm going to destroy you. But ain't destroy me. Because I'm the one suffering this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you the one set me down here in this madness that you created. All of this existence of duality. You know, you the one put me down here in this. And then, according to the Bible, we were celestial. We were spiritual beings as far as the first chapter is concerned. Male and female created he, them. And then if you go to the second chapter where it talks about, and then a mist came up from the earth and God created man from the dust. And then that's all of a sudden, it is not a good thing that man should be alone. Why? Because of the drives of the flesh? Evidently, it's right there in your book. So why did you put us in his flesh? It seems like that's where the problem started, because this thing has demands, it has drive. Right there in your book. I can point to it. I can point right to it. because we didn't start having issues. We didn't start becoming liars. We didn't start becoming sexual beings. We didn't start becoming anything that is self-destructive and destructive until you gave us this flesh. It's right there in your book. I can point right to it. But the pastors don't want to deal with that. Well, if you don't want to deal with the issues, then fuck you. I don't want to hear nothing else. Jesus rose from the grave. That doesn't mean shit to me now. You know what I'm saying? Let's deal with the real issues.
You're right.
How come we walking around here, we got these sexual drives? How come, I got to have that pussy? You think it's your fault you feel that way? You didn't create yourself. No man is walking. If you really sat down and you really went deep into this whole sexual thing, and once you get past the drives of the flesh and pleasure and desire, who really wants to walk around needing pussy? You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
I mean, really, let's just deal with this. Who wants to go run? Who wants to run after these bitches? You know what I'm saying?
Yup. It's all emptiness.
You a slave, man. You a slave. Well, it's lust. Dude, you a slave to lust. Who created lust? Who created desire? Who created all these things? You telling me that you are totally in love with a being that gave you all of these conflicting feelings? I've got an issue with the Creator. And a lot of people don't want to accept that. A lot of people don't want to admit it. I admit I've got a problem with this thing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I've got a problem with you, man. And then if we're overcome by it, then we got to burn in hell because of some shit that you created. I didn't create myself like this. And if I had a choice, I wouldn't want to be dependent on no woman for nothing. I would rather be like, according to what the Bible is talking about in chapter 1, male and female created he them. What does that mean? Were we male and female at the same time? Were we self-sufficient? Because we wasn't creatures of desire, according to the first chapter. We was at peace. I mean, people really need to look at that first chapter and then look at the second chapter, because the second chapter, that's when we started having issues. If that's true.
And I doubt it is.
But I do know one thing. The biggest burden is the flesh.
Yeah. If we didn't have it, like you said, if we didn't have this flesh, we'd be perfect.
Mm-hmm. And it really started bothering me, and my gripe against the Creator became more intense after my accident. Because I know what it feels like to be empty of all of those things. I know what that's like. You're in complete freedom. Because even when I was coming back to the knowledge that I had 2 sons, it came that came with a burden too, because of fear, the fear of losing them, and stuff like that. All of that stuff comes with a burden, man. You love your sons. You love your children. That love is a burden too, because there's a fear there. A lot of people don't want to talk about that. I'm going to talk about it. So even though you love the children, your biggest fear is losing them. Therefore, are they a curse? Are they a burden? Or are they a joy? Tell the truth. They're all of those things. And so why is that fear there in the first place? Well, I don't want nothing to happen to my son. Right. But didn't the Creator give you those sons? Yeah, but the Lord taketh, giveth and the Lord taketh. So fuck us. Fuck how we feel, huh? Well, I love them, so I want to take them from you. You just gonna have to live for the rest of your life in pain because I took your children away from you, and you're gonna be at peace about that, and you're gonna like it, because if you say anything about it, I'm sending you to hell. What kind of God is that?
Oh,
you know what I mean? That ain't no righteous God. And then you wonder, okay, but is that a false description of the Creator that Christianity gave us? And so I was going through the Quran, all that stuff. This can't be what created me. But all of them say the same thing about that. Allah giveth, Allah taketh. Take? You want to take something from me? Sorry. I'm questioning everything. And I know this can't be the divine creator that created me. Can't be. So did the religious scholars lie? You know? Because I know that night when I walked up in there after Deshaun got hit by the car, I'm standing up there looking at my pain, you know, my son all bashed up, covered in blood, trembling with pain. And when I went to that waiting room, and I was the creator, I'm like, you know what? If you take my son from me, it's gonna be a problem. You know, and then that question, he threw that question on me. You know, it threw that question on me. If I take your son, would you be able to accept it? Yeah, because I had no choice. I don't have no power. I can't keep him here. I didn't bring him here. I damn sure can't keep him here. Well, would you be able to accept it? Yeah, I'll be able to accept it because that's the reality of it. But I won't like it, and I'll never like it. You know, I will never like that. You know, people say, well, I've grown to accept it. Excuse me, you don't have a choice but to accept it.
Yo.
Don't tell me you've grown to accept shit. You don't have a choice but to accept it. Why don't y'all tell the truth? And then when you ask him if you would have your son back today, would you want your son back today? Yes, I would love him, and you ain't accepting the damn thing. You don't have a choice. Now here's a creator that gives you something. This is your child, and you are supposed to love your child. You're supposed to cherish your child, and then just take it away from him. Just take it. Poof. And you're gonna like it, and you're gonna accept it, and you're not gonna say nothing bad about it. See, that's torture. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, you're right.
And nobody wants to talk about that, but I'm gonna talk about it. God, you feel good with it. Why you crying? Because I have to accept it. Oh, you have to accept it. Okay. You have to accept it? No, you don't. Don't you got freedom of choice? Yeah, I got freedom of choice. Choosing implies you're confused, but actually you really don't have a choice because you can't do anything to prevent it. And if anybody knows that, I do, because when I felt my body coming back, I didn't want this, regardless if I had children or not. I wanted to stay where I was, but I didn't have a choice. So that right there tells me you do not have a power at all. You really don't have freedom of choice. You really don't have a choice. And then people say, well, it just wasn't your time. Well, obviously it wasn't my time. You know, I had to experience that to accumulate some information so that I can tell people about it. You know, there's some things I had to learn. But regardless of some things I had to learn, I still would have rather stayed where I was. And this is what I'm saying. I haven't been the same since. When I get angry, I get real angry now. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't want to come back here and deal with this bullshit. And so I'm not that it's not that I'm no nonsense. I am absolutely no nonsense now. Absolutely no nonsense. Yeah, because I know exactly how it feels to die. I know what it's like to be dead. There's a beautiful life force there. So this false description of death that the European gave you is bullshit. What they call death is actually the highest level of living, the highest level of living. You know, it's when the stress is gone, the knowledge and the burdens that knowledge carries, the stress, the fears, and all of that's gone. That's the real death. That's the real death. It's when you're in that state to where you're not afraid. You're beyond happy. You're in a state of bliss. You're empty, and so you're at you're in a state of tremendous energy, but there's a humility there, to where you're at a tremendous energy, but it's not a vibrating type energy that these niggas talk about. Your vibration, shut the hell up. What you niggas know?
Yeah, all that crap.
Your vibration is because you're still in this flesh, and your vibration don't mean a damn thing. Your vibration, you're at a high point of my vibration. Ain't nothing but understanding. That's all it is. Your own personal point of view wrapped up in your little understanding. You're vibrating with me. Aren't you vibrating with me? It means don't you agree with me? I mean, what's the difference? What's the distinction? It's really no difference. But where I was, there was no duality. And a lot of people say, you was knocked out. No, dude, I was dead. Look at my medical record. I was dead for 20 minutes. I don't tell Tammy that. I don't tell my sons that, because that's upsetting to them. But I just not too long told my dad. According to the medical records, I was dead. I knew that I was dead. I just didn't tell a whole lot of people that. You know, because people who love you don't want to hear that. You know, this is my first time telling you. I could have told you this a long time ago, but I know that you can deal with that now. You know, that's something that you can hear, and it's easy for you to hear because I'm still here with you.
Right.
You know, but my sons, people like my sons and Tammy and them, they don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm extremely important to them. Extremely important. You know, and you're gonna feel that way when you meet me in person. You know, and vice versa. But that's not something that you tell your two sons.
No,
that's not something.
If you told them, they'll probably feel betrayed.
Yeah, because they don't want to hear that Dad didn't want to come back. You know, and even if I didn't tell them that, due to the fact that my dad was dead for 20 minutes, that's not some information I want to give to them. I don't want them walking around knowing that, because that's a burden. That's a burden. You know what I'm saying? And so that's just not some information that I want them to know. But, you know, I did come to know why people do say rest in peace. And these lying crackers, the ones that are going around talking about, I was dead and I saw Jesus and he had his hands out to me. You wasn't dead. You was knocked out, and your mind started giving you imaginations and all this. You wasn't doing nothing but looking at some shit in your mind that was already recorded. That's all that was. All right? That's all that was. He called my name. You wasn't there, because it ain't no knowledge in death. It ain't no memory. of the past when you dead. None of that stuff means anything. You're talking about the organism. You're talking about information that the organism accumulated. You're talking about memories and all that stuff. You wasn't there. You was in a coma-like state, and your mind was your imagination started picking up your most profound beliefs, these visuals of how Jesus looked and your desires of being accepted and Jesus coming with his open arms. That's what you saw. You saw some religious bullshit. That's all you saw. But when you out of here for a short amount of time, you're free.
Yeah, I bet you. I know you've been lusting after that feeling of freedom ever since. Even though I'm not saying you want to die, but just the essence, that feeling.
Well, you know, that's why I can't talk to a lot of people about this, because they would get that impression. He sounds like he wants to die. No, you gonna have to understand you are already dead. I was the one who witnessed what real living is about. That's why I started going back through the book, and I'm like, okay, there ain't nothing in this book that comes close to what I experienced. And when I told Angel about this, she was trying to go through the book. I said, you ain't gonna find this book. I said, and don't think that just because I say I was in darkness, it doesn't mean that Brother David needs to give his life to Christ, and Brother David needs to give because he said it was in darkness. Yeah, but did I say I was burning? I didn't say that, did I? I said I was at peace. So find that in your book. I can find it for you. Before it said, let there be light, was there conflict? I told him, go into your book. I said, these crackers is hiding something from you. He said, here it is. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was void, and without form, darkness was upon the face of the deep. Was the conflict? No. And then just let there be light. What do you mean, let there be light? Who's opposing you? Don't the Quran says, Allah says, be and it is? But the Bible says, let there be. What you mean, let? Who do you need permission from? And then he says, well, you know, in the English language, it means be. No, it doesn't. It means let there be light. Let it be. Let there be light. And I'm still focusing on the word let. Right. Who's opposing you? Who do you have to ask permission? Let this happen. Why don't you just say, be light? Be and it is. What you mean, let there be light? You know, what's that all about? And no matter what you tell these Christians, they by not having an answer, they still try to come up with an excuse. Well, you know, maybe God, hey, don't do no maybes to me. I used to always tell Angel, as soon as you say maybe, shut up, because I'm not listening to you no more. No maybes. Because you're telling me you don't know. You guessing at it. Don't throw no maybes on me, dude. Unless you have an answer, be quiet. I ain't gonna hear you. Because we trying to deal with truth here, so don't guess. Don't guess at me. All this maybe stuff. Aren't you tired of that? You know, you know, you always talking about the church is lying. Well, you're the one sitting up here throwing maybes at people. You're supposed to know what you're talking about. You know, because that's the whole thing. Well, maybe this. Nope. The hell with maybe. You got to be for certain. No maybe. because they want to guess at it, and then when they come to a conclusion, they want to call that truth. Well, this is the truth. Why? Because that's the conclusion you came to after you said maybe. Dude, I'm listening to you. You ain't gonna yell a maybe at me and then conclude and say, well, since I can figure it out, I'm just going to give you this exclamation, and that's the truth. And you're going to accept it. No, I'm not. I'm absolutely not going to accept that. If it comes out of a maybe, no way. I'm not accepting that. And so this is what I was telling my dad that I haven't been the same since. I said, because it's like a person who tries cocaine for the very first time, and they said, I've never in my life, that's the greatest I've ever felt in my life. And so they want more. And they're looking for that same feeling that they got for the first time. And that's the feeling that they're trying to get back to. But they'll never get that feeling. They'll never get that feeling back. And I was telling him that's kind of the bliss, that level of peace and emptiness that I felt. I would love to feel that every day. But the whole thing is, you can't feel that in a world like this. You will never feel that as long as you're in this flesh. I told him, and that's the reason why I know that if there's any hell, it is this flesh. If there's any burden, it's the flesh. I said, and see, I can say that because I experienced it.
Right.
I said, see, y'all go in the Bible, and see, it doesn't mean anything to y'all because you can read through it, blah, 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 and the flesh is weak, and blah, 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 and y'all can sing about it. You can about it. I've experienced it, and I know what I'm talking about. And see, this stuff that y'all read, y'all believe it. I know it because I was there. I know what that feels like. And I know that knowledge is burdensome because when I was coming to, I felt the weight of knowledge and memory. I felt it. I said, so it ain't nothing, and I told him this is the reason why knowledge is so dangerous. And that's what divides the world. It's knowledge. Religion, politics, debate, it's because of everybody's got knowledge. Information is destructive. I said, and y'all will never understand that until you're out of this flesh. And you're going to look back at all of the stuff that you studied and all of these things that you held so dear to your heart that you found that you thought was true. It wasn't nothing but chaos. That's all it was. And he said, well, what is it? What do you live by now? I said, see, you're still talking about knowledge. He said, well, I put it like this. He said, well, what is your position? I said, I'm still learning my position, Daddy. I said, this is not something that comes to you in completeness. In completeness. I said, because it's complicated for me now. I'm getting bits and pieces now. I said, now, when I was in that state, I wasn't in this flesh, so it wasn't complicated. I said, but now that I'm back in this flesh, and what I've learned is conflicting against what I've been taught all of my life. I said, that's why I'm throwing away. I'm constantly throwing away religion, because before the accident, I was afraid to say, fuck your Jesus. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it's not that I was afraid. I just wouldn't go there. But now I would go there, and I would say, fuck your Jesus. You know what I'm saying? That's why when I put that video up, I'm like, this is going to upset a whole lot of people. I don't give a damn. This is going to free a lot of people, too. And a lot of people are not going to understand me because they don't know where I've been. And I know all that stuff. I know that it's bullshit. I know it is. And even those books about people who died and came back to life, I've read a few of them books. Crap. You know, and just like I told Angel, just because I say I was in darkness, that don't mean it's a bad thing. I said I was at peace. I wasn't burning. You know, he said, well, did you have knowledge? I said, no, I didn't have any knowledge. I didn't. It was a necessity. I said, see, knowledge doesn't bring you peace. The absence of knowledge brings you peace. That's why when Murdy put his out, Freedom from the Known, I know exactly what he's talking about now.
And that's also why little children and people who, you know, a lot of times are quote unquote like so-called retarded or whatever, that's why they be the most happiest people.
Exactly. That's why no matter what a Forrest Gump went through, it didn't change him. And you want to know why he didn't change? It's because he didn't have any duality. He didn't have any images in his mind on how he should be, how he's supposed to be. He just existed. I know what that means. And that's why when I came back, I threw away a whole lot of stuff, man. I threw away a whole lot of that stuff. And that's why my Muslim friend, I told him I'll get along with y'all as long as you don't try to convert me. I said, and you can't deceive me. You absolutely cannot deceive me. Absolutely cannot. I said, so giving me this Jabila and giving me a Quran, that doesn't mean anything to me. I said, of course, it's kind to accept somebody when, you know, accept somebody's gift when they give it to you, especially if it's a gift based on what they hold most dear. I think it's only proper and decent to accept it. But it doesn't mean that I'm Muslim. And that has to be understood. And, you know, like I told him, I said, I will go to the mosque with y'all. I'll meet all your brothers. I'll sit around and we'll all talk. I said, but if you consider me a Muslim, you're going to be disappointed. I said, because I'm not going to act a certain way. I'm not going to talk a certain way. I'm not going to dress a certain way. It's not going to happen. I said, so if you can deal with that, then you can bring me around your brothers. I said, you know, I'll respect everybody and all of that. I said, but I'll never be a Muslim. I said, because that's enough stop. I said, and I've been outside the box. I mean, I've really been outside the box. I've been outside this flesh, and I know what it's like to be absolutely, totally empty. And yet, be in the state to where there's a tremendous energy there. Like I say, and it's an energy that is not vibrating because it doesn't have any barrier. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It doesn't have a center. It doesn't have a circular. It doesn't have a circular to where it creates a containment of you. You know, there's no circle. You are tremendous energy. And due to the fact that you doesn't have a circular, there's no vibration there. And that is, as far as I know, that is at the state that you was within the Creator's essence, that part of your particular existence that it took. That's where your original state was. Your absolute original state was as a collective entity within the Creator itself before you were spoken into the womb of your mother. That's the best that I can describe that.
Right.
And then when it was your time as Joshua to exist, then that particular entity was spoken into the womb of your mother, and you became flesh. You know.
That's beautiful how you worded that.
Mm-hmm. But I do know that darkness was only present because of a time that's coming to where everything is going to be revealed.
And I'm talking about not lifetime.
And so that is the state to where people say rest in peace. Well, rest.
Hello?
I'm here.
Okay, what are you saying? Rest what?
Rest is not a permanent state. See, you're resting until another time to where you're going to be, something else is going to be revealed to you. So just like we sleep at night, we are in darkness, but we're at peace. So it's kind of like a state. Now people may say that's because you was knocked out. Dude, let me tell you something. I know when I'm knocked out. And David has never been knocked out to the point to where his mind was still wandering. There wasn't no visuals, man. There wasn't no visuals. I wasn't in no dream state. You know, I didn't even know I was dead. And a lot of people say, well, how can you be dead and not know you're dead? Because y'all have a description, a definition of what death is. It's a lie, man. It's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
I keep trying to tell people, you guys don't understand. I was telling Angel in this. Y'all don't know.
They just think they do.
This cracker done gave y'all a definition of everything, and it's a lie. All that stuff is a lie. Even Egyptians lied. Everybody who done passed on, they know the truth now. And they are forbidden to come back and tell you exactly what it is.
And that's so stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. Ain't that something?
Well, hey, you gonna get the truth, but you can't tell nobody.
well, let me go back and tell them. No. That's forbidden. You can't tell them. I'll tell them at a certain time. So what am I supposed to do? Rest. And I think that one of the reasons why I wasn't able to see more simply because it just wasn't my time. See, because naturally and intelligently, if it's not your time to pass completely over, so much the Creator is going to allow you to see. And actually, just sitting here talking about this, I feel more love for the Creator now. You know, and I was telling my dad, it's hard to talk to you about it because you want to go into Bible study. I said, everything, there's nothing in that book. There's nothing there that you can point to in that book. I said, show me something, point to something in that book that explains to me what I experienced. And I told him, I said, I'll give you a whole year to find something. You ain't going to find it because I haven't found it. And if I haven't found it, you definitely ain't going to find it.
That's funny. That's funny how you just said it like that.
Yeah. And he said, why would you say it like that? I said, because I experienced this. I said, so if there's something in that book, I would identify it more conclusively than you ever could. I said, you preachers? You are so nonchalant. I said, it's because of ego. Anytime you accept the title reverend, you're blinded. Your mind closes up. You give yourself a title, you ain't no better than nobody. Pastor. I don't care if it's the most simplest thing like pastor. It's no good, man. It's no good. Yeah. But I'm regardless of me almost losing my life, I wouldn't change that day for anything because of what was shown to me, Right. And it's a blessing to be in a position to be able to see that and still read that, even though I was empty. I was still able to read that. That's a blessing, to be blessed with a mind that, and the Creator showed me a lot of generosity and confidence to say, look, I'm going to give you this. I'm going to allow your mind to pick this up because the Creator knows I'm not going to do anything abusive with that information other than beat the hell out of lying pastors about it. And these folks is lying about, I saw my grandmama and I saw Jesus and he was a Jewish looking guy. He had it on. Shut the hell up. Right. Y'all ain't seen this job. That was, that's accumulating information and visuals and all that stuff. That was your mind playing. That was your mind projecting things.
And also because for hundreds or maybe thousands of years, the culture and our minds have been embedded with this, to where, like you said, people have been programmed. So, like, when you have an experience like that, you already programmed what you want to see.
Exactly. That's indoctrination.
Yep. That's subconscious penetration.
Mm-hmm. That's all it is. Jesus, how you know? Well, Mama went home. How you know? How you know what you went? Wouldn't it be better to just find out for yourself? I know that I don't know completely, but I do know that this time with my son is part-time. It's not permanent. Right. I don't know if it's part-time, but I do know it's not. But I do know that it's not permanent.
I know you don't like that.
No, I don't.
Because you should be able to enjoy them at full time.
Yeah, even in the afterlife. Now that's one thing I don't know. I do know that in the flesh, it's part-time.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Now, in the afterlife, I wasn't taken into that because, see, they are still down here living. I mean, even if I had died, I still most likely won't know if they will join me in the afterlife as my son until all three of us are gone.
And Lord knows how long that's going to take.
Right. So who really knows? And that's why I keep trying to tell these people, I'm going to go see my mama. How do you know your mama's going to be your mother in the afterlife?
Who knows? And to add on to that, who knows if she ain't already reincarnated by then?
Right. And who knows if reincarnation is real?
Right.
Reincarnation is a Hindu thing. Who knows? And it's an Egyptian thing. Who knows if that's real? I might be you. You might be me.
Yeah, it's possible.
We might be the creator. Who knows? We might be little molecules of the creator. We might be ideas of the creator. Who knows? can I do no one thing, I'm not going to try to guess it because that's dangerous.